Welcome to day 2 of the 2021 Mobilizing Medical Missions Conference. It's better known as M3, you already know that. My name is Chuck Pryor, I'm your MC. We're so thrilled to have you here. Glad you're able to join us from around the world. 88 countries represented by our attendees for M3 this weekend. 88, from Cameroon to Bahrain, Norway, United Arab Emirates. Our M3 family extends today to the farthest corners of the globe, and we're so excited to have you. I'm here today with the founders of M3, Dr. Paul and Jennifer Osteen. What's your story, Paul? We've heard some incredible stories, even as we've begun this year's M3 conference, and we're seeing God really do an incredible work.
Yeah, just in the last few years, you think about Joy Vonk's testimony yesterday of how she found her mission right here at M3. The same with Sandra Harris last night. So, you know, I feel like God's using the conference to, inspire people to, believe in their dreams that God's put in their heart. And then secondly, take that step and, reach out and make that contact, write that email, make a phone call and see what God does with that next step. And
yeah, a lot of people joining us this morning may not have been able to attend all the conference last night. Some of the highlights from yesterday.
I wrote some things down, Chuck, that just stirred my spirit. One was what Ben Roberts says, that being flexible and adaptable on the mission field is incredibly important. And I can tell you, Jen and I have done this for 14 years now, you got to be flexible and adaptable. And then I love what Kelly cites, it's easy to make comfort an idol. Then she went on to say, never be afraid to trust an unknown future to a known God. So good, just for life, a life principle, but especially as you're stepping out in faith to do something big as far as missions is concerned. John Fielder reminded us that it's so important to understand the cultural context of the people that we're ministering to. And then Annie, Dr. Alanese, I loved her phrase. She said, God has not forgotten about people in small villages like Tanji, Malawi. Yeah. And I think, God hadn't forgotten about them, Chuck, neither should we. It's so easy to just get involved in our little world here and not realize that there's a huge world. I heard somebody say it like this one time. They said, I used to think that the world was a big place of prosperity with pockets of poverty. And now I realize the world is a big place of poverty with pockets of prosperity. And a lot of the world lives like the people in Tanji, Malawi.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think about this year's conference is so different. This last year for the whole world has been so different. But Jennifer, one of the things that I love is the resources that you and your team have put together, that even though we're spread out in 88 countries this weekend for this conference, you've really made it possible for us to connect and sort of just be together as best we can. Talk a little bit about some of those.
I think our team tried to be really intentional with that because we can't be together in person, but there are so many ways that you can connect. But I want to encourage everybody, don't just watch the conference. You'll have to make some effort to connect, but we've got a lot of ways to do it. You can chat with one another while the conference is going on. So be brave, chat to other people, chat back to us. If you have questions, you can interact with the speakers. You can ask questions. We have a prayer room, so I know people are thinking about what they're hearing and how God's moving on them. And so we have real live people waiting to chat with people and pray with them through the virtual prayer room. And then we have resources online. I mentioned them yesterday. We have a book of mission hospitals. We have a book of a nursing resource handbook. And so people can go on there. They can look at different organizations. And behind those clicks are organizations with people waiting to connect with those who are interested. So lots of ways.
Yeah, and Sandra, when she was sharing her story last night, I just thought it was interesting. She was at the conference. She heard Dr. Alanese, she heard her story, and it was just like God just resonated in her heart. It's like, this is it. And that's our hope this weekend, that you'll find some of that. So please do what Jennifer said. Make sure you click on those links, check out some of the resources that we have available for you. They're there for you and to help you connect. Dr. Paul, let's talk about a little bit what we can expect later today as we continue the conference.
Jen, tell us about Lee. Lee's coming.
Well, Lee Kohler's one of my favorite people, and she is coming today to talk about human trafficking and the gospel, and what does that look like. And so she'll actually be here with us, so that's really great. We get to visit with her.
Andrew Scott, who is the CEO of Operation Mobilization, he's going to talk to us about reframing our paradigm of missions. It's a fascinating talk that I've heard him give, and it's just fascinating to see how we can use our careers to advance the gospel in countries that are very often closed to any other attempts to get the gospel into those countries. John Fielder is going to talk to us about COVID in Africa, a very apropos talk right now. He's right on the front lines of that. Becky Thompson still is, she's a nurse, but she was in Gabon for 34 years as a nurse educator. She's going to talk to us about some of the stories there, and especially the importance of training up the next generation of medical professionals. And then Nicholas Kamenelis is going to give us some very practical tips on if you want to take that next step in missions, what are some practical advice before you take those steps. And I highly recommend all the talks today. Nicholas is a really, really good talk.
Well, that's a little bit about what's coming up later today. We want to make sure as you're viewing from around the world, don't forget, take advantage of that chat tab. That's how you connect with others who are attending virtually all across the world. You can say hi to them. Make sure when you say hello, let us know where you're watching from. The Q&A tab, it's there for you as well. That's an opportunity for you to ask questions of our speakers who are going to be there. Make sure you do that as you're watching their speeches and their talks. Write down a few questions, let us know, we'll get to those, and we'll try to get to all of them if we can, but we'll certainly get to as many as possible. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we have Lee Kohler, co-founder and president of the Freedom Church Alliance, Jennifer just mentioned. But first, let's begin the day right. Let's prepare our hearts, focusing our minds in this moment of worship.
It's time to sing your song.